Hello, you're watching Ergo Presents Tech Leaders Life, where we explore how technology leaders are navigating some of the biggest challenges of 2023 and beyond. My name is Brett Hausker, and today I'm joined by a very special guest from New York, Jim O'Boyle. He's a Senior Vice President at Varonis, a pioneer in data security and analytics. Jim, welcome to Tech Leaders Life.
Thanks so much. Great to be here.
Welcome again. Welcome back to your home country of Ireland. How's it been since you've been traveling back to Ireland, seeing family and friends?
It's wonderful to be back in the old country.
Yeah, I bet it is. I bet it is. You know, just to kind of start off a little bit and kind of set the stage for our conversation today, you know, out of New York, what gets you up in the morning? The
job of a CISO is, I think it's the hardest in the business, and it's close to impossible with all the containers, all the different platforms, and the amount of data that folks are producing and collaborating. The job of securing this data is close to impossible. So that's really what we do at Varonis. You know, when we wake up in the morning, we want to help our customers identify their most critical assets and secure them against the next potential breach.
Perfect. So you've been at Varonis for almost a little over 17 years then?
Yeah, I'm in year 17.
Right. Well, what's that in dog years?
That's a lot of years.
Well, you know, looking at that, and you've obviously seen a lot of technology kind of expanding, and you know, different types of technology revelations or revolutions. Which one kind of stands out to you the most?
I think the two biggest changes, and there's good and bad. First is the digitization of all data. Everything is digitized, but today it's everywhere. So digitizing data allows a lot of innovation, and it allows a massive amount of collaboration. Right. It also makes our customers, the CISOs and the folks securing this data, it makes their job really, really difficult. So I just think the ability to collaborate, folks now, an end user in a company, can create a massive amount of critical data and share it at a fingertip with thousands of internal or even external folks.
Sure.
So the collaboration enables business, but it also creates a huge amount of risk. I think the other thing that we've seen, which is not so good, is cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency has enabled this massive multi-billion-dollar business of extorting money from companies, ransomware, malware, and they can do it without being tracked. So we've really, with cryptocurrency, has really enabled this massive multi-billion-dollar, and this is a corporate business, right? These aren't hackers anymore. This is a big-time business where they can extort billions of dollars potentially from our clients. So we need to help them deal with that.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of, if you look at it, you know, you're asking customers to take risks with trying to avert risk as well. So how do you help customers through that transition of taking risks, but at the same time helping protect their environment?
So in business in general, innovation and advancement of the business is always going to win, right? As security professionals, we're here to help advance the business, but to do it in a way that doesn't put them at too much risk. And so we really pride ourselves in thinking most about business value. You're not going to stop business. They're going to create portals, or they're going to do more interface to clients. We just need to enable that and enable them to do it securely.
Sure. They kind of, you know, if you think about it, you know, as Ergo is a global company just like you are, do you find globally that the challenges people have, whether it's in the U.S. or in Ireland, are the challenges the same, or do you find that you're fighting different challenges across the pond?
It is a universal problem, and I think it's fair to say enterprises, big and small, if you talk to the Forresters and the Gartners, everyone is going to be breached in the next 12 months. Some level, some of them are minor.
Right.
It's happening from both outside the organizations, from some of these corporate cyber hacks, right, you know, but it's happening quite often from inside the organization, from insiders that are extracting data and doing something that they shouldn't do with it. So everyone is going to get breached, and we find that it's a universal problem. It's also a problem in the 200 or 300 user law firm. It's as big a problem in that for them as it is for the 20 and 30,000 user corporation. And sometimes it's even more important for the law firm because they have all their eggs in fewer baskets.
Right.
So they have all their client data, and they really to not secure that properly will put the entire firm at risk. So it's a universal problem for corporations and organizations, big and small.
So let's shift gears a little bit. Obviously, AI is a big topic. That everybody in the tech industry is looking at. The statistics are out there. 30% of what we do is going to be automated by 2030. What do you believe? From an IT leader perspective, kind of in your opinion, what skills do IT leaders need to have as we kind of transition or as we bring AI into our into our daily lives?
So we know AI is going to do more and more, and it's going to replace a lot of the repetitive drudgery. The skills I think our technology leaders need to focus on are the business value. Skills are understanding the business needs, understanding business value, and use AI. We use AI today for classification of data, for UBA. We use it for many, many things. And it really allows us to be very accurate in what our platform does. But the folks that are employing our platform really can now focus on the needs of the business. So I think what AI is ultimately going to do is allow our IT leaders to learn more about the business and less about the techie.
Yeah, and do you think it's, I think we see it a lot from an automation perspective. It's automating specific tasks within a IT organization. Is that what you're seeing as well?
It's exactly what we're seeing. The volume of data, we're talking for some of our clients, we collect 1 billion events per day.
Right.
Humans can't deal with that, right? You're going to need to employ AI to take any level of intelligence from this. But from that intelligence, this is where you need to take and start adding value to the business.
Well, even shifting gears, I mean, everybody's been talking about it. I mean, if you look post-pandemic, right, the big topic was the Great Resignation. How have you, as a leader within the tech industry, battled that? Do you believe we're kind of out of that and things are shifting a little bit, or how have you kind of come out of that, in a positive way?
I think the biggest opportunity for CIOs, people sometimes blame money or different opportunities to move. Ultimately, smart IT folks want a couple of things. They want to work on meaningful and successful projects.
Yep.
Okay? And number two, they want a path to advance their career. If you're giving your employees both those things, good, meaningful projects that add value to the business and advancement opportunity, they're usually going to stay with you. And what we're doing now with our platform is allowing folks to automate the processes of reducing risk.
Perfect, perfect. If you look at throughout your career before Varonis, I don't know if it's life or in business, what is kind of the best advice or some of the best advice you've ever received?
We got some great advice when we started the company. And he said two things. A really, really smart leader of another large corporation, he said two things. Don't believe the hype, and cash is king.
Right. And
I'll talk about both of those. And don't believe the hype. And basically said when something sounds too good to be true, don't believe it. And I think that's really relevant in the last several years. I think in the last year we've seen investment in startup companies almost stop. But in the last 3 or 4 years previous, probably somewhere between 500 and 1,000 startup companies were funded with hundreds of millions and billions of dollars. And I think 90% of those companies won't be here in another 2 or 3 years. So when money's being thrown around and you're growing the business at 100% and burning money at 200 and 300%,
right.
That's hype,
right.
And we said don't believe. So we never ran the business that way. We were very conservative. We grew our revenues, and then we added folks as we did it over the last 16 years. So don't believe the hype. And number two, cash is king. So when we talked to Wall Street this year, we told folks we're going to focus on two things. Number one, we're going to grow our subscription. We're a SaaS company now. We're going to grow subscriptions, and we're going to generate money. So the other metric is free cash flow. So we generated in the first half, Varonis generated in the first half of 2023, 10 times the amount of cash that we did in the first half of 2022. The second thing I will tell you, it's all about the people. You know, no matter where you're going, we solve a universal problem, and I've made lots of mistakes in my 16 years at Varonis, but where we've done well or where we've done poorly, 100% of the time it came down to, did you hire quality people? So hiring quality, hiring smart, hardworking, but mostly good people is the most thing we can do, and it's exactly how we feel about our partners.
You know, do you see greater involvement by IT leaders and kind of C-suite more than you did? Are they more involved than they were in the past?
As things get tougher and money in the economy is a little bit more challenging, if you're not getting to a CIO and involving him in these business decisions, you probably won't be successful. So the CIO is getting, especially any new projects, they have to bless it. But from a CIO perspective, what we're seeing is a trend. A CIO and CISO, as you probably know in the US, the SEC has a recommendation that you present your data security solution to the board twice a year. So public companies, CIOs and CISOs are going to the board. They're explaining how they're identifying risk and protecting the brand of the company. And we're seeing this all over the US, and this is a trend that's going to go worldwide. You know, CISOs and CIOs are reporting to the board of how they are protecting the business. You know, 10 or 12 years ago, board members knew nothing. Now board members are saying, hey, we don't want to be the next company in the newspaper. Secondly, in the last probably 6 weeks, an SEC requirement in the US to CFOs is to understand if a breach occurred, and within 4 days, if it's material, to report it publicly. So we have now the attention of CIOs and CISOs, of course, but CFOs are now becoming really key clients of data security. They need to understand when a breach occurred, and they need to quickly define whether it's material or not material.
You know, in the IT world, we're all about, you know, being prepared today and planning for tomorrow, right? You know, one of the newer regulations out there, which is DORA. You know, how are you meeting your customers as it relates to DORA?
So there's a couple of aspects around that. One is redundancy of cloud. For instance, you can't have all your applications in one cloud provider. You need to do across two. We provide a pane of glass that can deal with your on-prem data, your Microsoft Cloud data, your AWS S3 data, and many other platforms. So we give you a single pane of glass. If you're going to have your data sitting in multiple cloud environments, which is really a requirement of DORA, you're still going to have one view, one pane of glass to see this data across all of that. The second half of that is understanding anomalous or abnormal access to data and reporting on it, potential breaches.
Well, thank you, Jim, for joining us today. You know, you came all the way across the pond to meet us here, but, you know, it was a great conversation today, and we really appreciate you coming on over and talking to us.
Well, thank you, Brett, and just thanks to Ergo and all our joint customers. You guys are a great partner and a really key focus partner for us, so thanks so much.
Great, great. Thank you for joining Tech Leaders Life, brought to you by Ergo.